Okay, so if you're listening to this, chances are you're hearing about AI, AI agents, automation. I mean, it's absolutely everywhere, isn't it?
It really is. Almost overwhelming sometimes.
Exactly. And maybe you feel that little push like, okay, should be using this stuff. But then there's that voice, I'm just not a tech person.
Right. Or maybe you are following it all, reading the news, but actually applying it, making it work for you. That's a whole other challenge.
That is precisely who this deep dive is for. We've basically done the homework for you, plowed through tons of articles, research, our own notes. Honestly, it feels like hundreds of hours of just trying things out.
Lots of trial and error, definitely.
So our mission today, give you a real shortcut, a practical way to learn and actually use AI maybe 10 times faster than just stumbling around. We want to turn it from just noise into your actual advantage.
Even if you feel like you're starting from absolute zero in this specific tech area.
Exactly. So by the time we're done here, you'll really get the best way to learn these no-code AI tools. You'll know how to finally escape what everyone calls tutorial hell.
Oh yeah, we've all been there.
You'll see how to build that solid foundation without needing to learn code. We'll unpack this reverse engineering secret that's, frankly, pretty cool for breaking down big goals.
And the power of community, which is huge.
Huge. And maybe most importantly, getting your mindset right, because that underpins everything. So get ready. This should really shift how you think about learning AI and automation.
Let's do it.
All right, let's kick things off with the foundation. It's such a common mistake, right? People get excited, jump straight into some fancy tool.
Skipping the basics. Yeah, we see it all the time. One of our sources had a great analogy. I was like trying to build a skyscraper on, well, a really weak foundation.
It might not feel flashy, laying these first bricks, but man, it dictates everything later, your speed, how stable your skills are.
And the key thing to stress here, especially for non-tech folks listening, is you do not need to become a programmer. Not at all. It's more about grasping a kind of basic programming mindset, the logic, the flow, which honestly you probably already use in things like spreadsheets or just mapping out a business process. We're just applying it to automation.
Makes sense. So what are those core bits then?
Okay, first up, variables. Think of them as just named containers, like little boxes where you store data that might change. Simple example, customer name, John Doe.
Okay, like a placeholder.
Exactly. And why that matters is you can build one automated process but have it work for any customer just by changing what's in that box. Then you've got data types.
Ah, like text versus numbers.
Precisely. Text, numbers, true, false things, Booleans, lists of items, or more structured data like JSON. Knowing the difference is key because it's basically the language these automation tools use to understand and handle information.
Got it.
Then there's conditional logic, your classic ILS. This is really the heart of making automation smart. You know, if this condition is true, do task A, else do task B.
Like sorting emails based on the subject line?
Perfect example. And finally, loops. That's just about repeating an action automatically for everything in a list, like sending a personalized email to every single lead on your sales list, one by one, without you doing it manually.
Okay, those feel like the building blocks of the logic.
No.
What about the AI side specifically?
Right, a few core AI concepts really help speed things up. Understanding tokens is pretty important. Language models don't just read words, they read and write in these things called tokens. This affects, cost and how much you can feed into the AI or get out at once.
The input limits.
Okay. Then there's the context window. Think of it like the AI's short-term memory. Everything you give it in one go needs to fit in this window for it to properly process it all together.
Oh, I can't remember the conversation from yesterday unless you remind it.
Exactly. And then basic prompting. This is crucial. Just learning how to structure a good command. Give it enough background, maybe tell it what role to play, be super clear about what you want, and importantly, specify the format you want the answer in.
Clear instructions get clear results.
You got it. And one last piece. A basic grasp of APIs and HTTP requests. Don't let the terms scare you. They're just the messengers. They let different software apps talk to each other. The classic analogy is a waiter in a restaurant. You, the client, ask for something. The waiter, the API, takes the order to the kitchen, the server.
And brings back the food.
Yeah.
The response.
Exactly. And really, you mostly just need to know about GT, which is for fetching data, and POST, which is for sending new data. That's usually enough for these no-code tools.
That's a really helpful breakdown. It demystifies a lot of it. And I love this pro tip from the sources. Use ChatGPT itself to learn. Ask it something like, explain an API to a business manager like I'm booking a hotel online.
Yeah, it's great for getting explanations tailored to how you think.
Okay, so building on that idea of focusing on the outcome, our sources talk about this really clever method called the reverse engineering method. It kind of flips the usual learning process on its head.
It really does. Instead of the usual, which tool should I learn first? Zapier, make.
Right, which leads to analysis paralysis.
Totally. This method starts with a different question. What process right now do I really, really want to automate? You start with your destination.
So for everyone listening, what is that one task, that thing you do over and over that just eats up time? Think big for a second.
Yeah, don't hold back. The example in the source material was great. I want an AI agent that reads customer feedback emails, figures out if they're positive, negative, or urgent,
Okay, classifies them.
then drafts a reply and saves it in a special needs response folder. That's step one. Choose your dream project, something concrete and valuable to you.
I like that. So once you have that dream, what's next?
Step two is break down the project.
Yeah.
You look at your dream project and you figure out, okay, what tech pieces do I actually need to make this happen?
Right, decompose it.
For that email example, you'd realize, okay, I need some kind of no-code automation platform, make.com, Zapier, N8N, whatever. I need it to connect to my email, Gmail, or Outlook. I need an AI model for the actual thinking part, classifying, drafting. So maybe OpenAI's API or Claude's. Crucially, I need to know how to write the prompt to tell the AI what to do.
The instructions again.
Exactly. And then you need the logic within the automation tool to string all these steps together in the right order.
Okay, that makes the big dream seem less intimidating.
It does. And that leads straight into step three, learn on demand. Because now that breakdown, that is your personalized learning plan. No more random tutorial.
So you only learn what you need for this specific project.
Precisely. Your searches become super targeted, like how do I connect Gmail to make.com, or how to use the OpenAI API step in Zapier, or even give me a sample prompt for email sentiment analysis.
So you're constantly learning with a purpose. Everything you learn immediately gets applied to something real you want to build.
That's the magic. It keeps you motivated because you see the direct payoff for your goal, the one you chose. No more learning just for learning's sake.
It avoids chasing shiny objects. Okay, so you've got the basics, you've reverse engineered your dream project into steps. Now it's time to actually, build it.
Roll up the sleeves time.
And this is where tutorial hell lives. We've all done it. Watch a video, seems crystal clear, the instructor makes it look easy.
And then you open a blank canvas in the tool and nothing. Your mind just goes blank.
Totally blank. Because the tutorials, they often skip the messy part.
Yeah.
Right. The debugging, the troubleshooting, the why isn't this working moments.
Yeah, absolutely. They hide the struggle, which is ironically where the real learning is. Which brings us to what we call the golden rule.
Okay, lay it on us.
For every, say, 1 hour you spend watching a tutorial, you need to plan to spend at least 3 hours actually building, breaking, fixing, tinkering with it yourself.
3 to 1.
Wow. You have to embrace that struggle. You're going to spend hours fixing things that feel like stupid, tiny errors. You'll definitely have moments where you just want to give up.
Been there. Many times.
But that's not failure. That frustration, that grit you develop pushing through it, that's what actually burns the knowledge into your brain. It makes it stick.
So the struggle is the feature, not the bug.
Beautifully put. And linked to that, we really advise starting small. Don't try and automate your entire company's workflow on day one.
Right. Aim for quick wins.
Exactly. Pick those small personal annoyances, maybe automatically sorting certain emails or pulling headlines from a news feed into a spreadsheet. Simple things.
Like sending automated birthday messages to customers.
Perfect. Something achievable that delivers a bit of value and, crucially, builds your confidence. Small wins fuel the bigger projects.
What about after you finish a tutorial successfully?
Great question. Don't just stop. Tinker with it. Ask yourself, okay, what if I fed it different data? Or could I add a Slack notification at the end here?
Try to modify it.
Or even better, challenge yourself. Can I rebuild this whole thing now from scratch without peeking at the tutorial? That really tests your understanding.
It really forces you to internalize it. And it highlights that action, just doing something, is the cure for feeling stuck or scared. You're never going to feel 100% ready.
Never. Just got to start building.
Okay, so we're building, we're practicing, maybe struggling a bit. But learning anything new, especially something like AI that moves so fast, can feel really isolating if you're doing it all alone.
Oh, absolutely. Going it alone is not only slower, it can be really discouraging. Your environment, the people you connect with, it makes a massive difference.
Which brings us to synergy, right?
Yeah.
not going it alone.
Exactly. And one of the best ways to tap into that is to join a community. Find groups focused on no code, AI automation. They're all over Facebook, Discord, Reddit, School.
What's the real benefit there?
It's huge. It's a place to ask questions when you inevitably get stuck, but also you get inspired seeing what others are building. You can get feedback on your own projects. And honestly, it just makes you feel like you're part of something bigger. It combats that loneliness.
Turns frustration into a shared journey.
Precisely. And another technique, which sounds counterintuitive but is incredibly powerful for learning, is to teach what you learn or just show your work,
Even if you feel like you barely know it yourself.
especially then. Did you just figure out how to automate some small report? Don't just keep it to yourself. Write a quick LinkedIn post about it. Or like the anecdote in our sources, someone recorded a quick screen video showing how they automated turning blog posts into Twitter threads.
And shared it in a Facebook group, right?
Yeah. It wasn't perfect, but the act of explaining it forces your brain to structure the knowledge. It solidifies it for you. Plus, you might get great tips from others. You start building a bit of a personal brand, expand your network. It's win-win-win.
It forces clarity in your own head.
Totally. And if you really want the fast track, find a mentor, someone who's already navigated this path. They can help you dodge common pitfalls, guide your focus, offer advice you just won't find in tutorials. It's a massive shortcut.
That makes a lot of sense. And just to echo what you said about sharing, you really don't need to be a world-class expert. If you know step 2 and someone else is stuck on step 1, you have value to share.
Absolutely. Everyone's one step ahead of someone else.
Okay, so we have the methods, the practice, the community. But none of it matters without the right mindset, does it?
Not a bit. You can have the best tools and roadmap, but if your head's not in the right space, it's all for nothing.
So what are those common mental roadblocks we need to smash?
Well, let's tackle them head on. First, that big one. This is only for tech people. We've said it before, but it bears repeating. No code tools exist specifically to break down that barrier. They're for you.
Right. The tools were made to solve this.
Then there's, too old to learn this stuff. Honestly, false. Your years of experience in work and life are actually a huge advantage. You know where the real problems are, where AI can actually make a difference. You have context.
That's a great reframe. Your experience helped you target the application.
Exactly. And the last big one, AI is just too complicated. Again, think about your smartphone. Do you know how the processor is made?
Not a clue.
But you use it every day, right?
Right.
It's the same here. You don't need to build the AI models. You just need to learn how to use them effectively through these tools.
Focus on being a skilled user, not the underlying engineer.
Precisely. And that leads to another key mindset piece, depth over breadth. This field changes literally hour by hour. Trying to know everything about every new AI tool or model, it's impossible. It's a recipe for burnout.
You'll just end up knowing a tiny bit about a lot of things.
Exactly. Superficial knowledge. Instead, pick 1 or 2 tools you like. Pick 1 or 2 specific problems or use cases you want to solve, and go deep. Become the expert in that niche. That's way more valuable.
Master a niche instead of skimming the surface.
You got it. And finally, and this is crucial for mental health, stop comparing yourself to the AI gurus you see online.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is. But you have no idea what their journey was like, the years, the failures, the late nights. The only person you should compare yourself to is you, yesterday.
Did I learn something new today? Did I make a little progress?
That's the only comparison that matters. Track your own growth.
That's really powerful advice. So, wrapping this all up, the core message here seems to be that getting good at AI agents and automation isn't really about having some innate tech talent or knowing how to code.
Not at all. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's about having a smart strategy for learning and then just sticking with it. Persistence.
You don't need to be a genius.
Nope. You just need that roadmap we talked about, keeping an open mind, and honestly, just having the courage to take the first small step.
So what does this mean for you listening right now? The takeaway is, start today. Seriously, today. With the absolute smallest possible step you can think of. Don't aim for perfection.
Just aim for action.
Exactly. Because 90 days from now, you'll look back and be genuinely amazed at what you've managed to learn and build. So the final thought to leave you with is, what's that single smallest step you can take, maybe right after listening to this?